Hang. Rendering. Well, hello. I love it. That's my favorite part right there. Welcome, everyone, back to the phrase that pays. Pencil to pencil.
Pays you on Tuesday for a hamburger today.
That's right. I'll gladly pay you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. You ready for it, you guys? Want to reel it in? Well, hello. Hello, and welcome back to Pencil, your favorite pandemic podcast, brought to you. I was going to say posthumously, but that doesn't make sense. I was going to run the P's there. I was going to pop my P's. Pause. Brought to you every Wednesday at 8 p.m. EST. Brought to you by your favorite expert cartoonists. I know it's hard to believe, right? I know Mike always has to like. Steve Conley and I are big Dungeons and Dragons fans, and there's an old spell called, well, that's not a spell, it's just a mechanic of the game. I disbelieve that.
Wow, that's old school.
That's right. You see, there's a giant dragon in front of you, and it's kicking over buildings. I disbelieve the dragon.
Is that how you cast the spell?
Well, this is kind of like to make, your characters just like...
I disbelieve you, dragon!
Well, what? I didn't use that voice, but okay.
No, you have to. Or the spell doesn't work.
That's your game you're playing in the basement of your mother's house, right?
That's right.
You have to talk like this.
Mother, I'm playing with my friends.
I feel oppressed right now. I feel very oppressed, Mike.
Well, we should at least feel old for like old school D&D, like the richness.
Is that when you played with everything made out of like stones that you had to carve your?
Yeah, the old miniatures were made out of straight up lead, like lumps of lead.
Yeah, they were like pewter, right? Pewter and
with little chunks of asbestos in there.
It tasted sweet.
It's got a salty
games lasted so long. It tastes sweet.
Let me finish doing the intros, you guys. This lovely podcast is where you, dear live viewer, get to interact with expert cartoonists as we chop it up in front of you. Some people call this a shop talk show. We have other creatives of different stripes on the show as guests from time to time. But I think there's a richness just in the three of us just talk. Yeah, I'm doing this. There's a lot of this. There's richness in there. There's a deep ore inside Pencil to Pencil.
Like cafe au lait? Ooh. Like international coffee?
Ooh, yeah. Actually, guys, I'm looking into getting a frother for Christmas.
What? Like a rabid dog? Call him over to your table.
I didn't expect that reaction. Yeah, that's great. No, I'm a big a cafe au lait, like whip, like a foam
milk steamer. Yeah,
milk steamer. The old ones used to be like a little whisk, that's a perfect way to use John. It was like a little skinny John that you were like, and your.
Can't you just blow bubbles into it?
I have a coffee hack. I'll do this real quick. If you get like a really small mason jar, like say like a jam jar, when you get like a little jam or something like that, and you put some whole milk, whatever kind of milk in it, you shake the hell out of it, and then you take the top off, put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and it like rises up.
And it explodes all of your microwave.
Like take it out before it explodes, and it stays foamy. I don't know how, but it makes a perfect foam on your coffee. But
did you watch like How Do They Do That or something on the Discovery Channel?
He'd tell him David Peterson that's a coffee hack. Yeah. I'm vibing off this coffee right now. Let me finish these intros. You guys, that's right. You guys, you're watching Pencil to Pencil. My name is Jamar Nicholas, your host with the most, and Philadelphia's favorite son. I'll end it there. I will bring over my favorite Master Chief of Comic Illustration, Michael Manley. Hello, Michael Manley. What's good?
Hello, everyone.
Oh, I know a secret. Well, I know a secret I won't tell. It is Mike Manley's birthday, you guys.
Oh.
Put it in the chat. Say happy birthday to the full-bird colonel of comic books, Michael Manley. How do you feel, Mike?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel any older than I felt yesterday.
Ain't that the way? But I do know, like, the older you get, the more things hurt, and you didn't do anything to make
I
that
didn't.
happen.
Yeah, I didn't do anything. Well, actually, I did a lot today, but I didn't. I didn't do anything to make it hurt.
That's great. Everybody say happy birthday to the MM Mighty Mouse Mike Manley. That's really nice. Well, happy birthday, Mike! And look, and what a surprise that we get to have a live show for you when your date of birth.
Actually, my birthday's not until I think 9:01 p.m.
Oh,
Right.
you're
Everyone
like
stop. Everyone
That
stop.
was when I was officially smacked on the rump.
I don't know if they do. Do they still smack butts in the hospital?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe now. No. They have like massage tables and
Um,
secret aroma rooms.
oh, ew, okay. David Peterson of Mouse Guard fame asks, "Why the late start tonight?" David, we're always here at 8 p.m. EST,
Yeah.
unless you may be calling from another realm. And let's finish this off. I'd be remiss if I did not introduce the world heavyweight champion of webcomics.
Sorry.
You don't have to do it. Stone Cold, Steve Conley.
And a Ringo Award nominee.
Ringo Award nominee for The Middle Age, my favorite webcomic. Steve Conley, what's good?
It's good to see you guys. It's very good to see you.
I don't know. David's like an hour behind. I don't know why you thought we started at 7. We're here every Wednesday, 8 p.m. So, Steve, you good? That's good.
Very good.
I hope I didn't throw anybody off with my high energy, my high octane energy tonight. But we're gonna need it. We're gonna need it tonight because I'm drawing again.
Woohoo!
So, Steve, why don't you tell everybody kind of how we got to our topic tonight and what we're doing tonight?
Well, last week was so great that everyone loves. We all could just watch Mike draw all day, and now you add Jamar to the mix, and now it's like, okay, this is hypnotic, and I need more practice running the dashboard here. Yeah.
The boards, yeah.
So as all that dovetailed together for a chance tonight for everybody to watch these two greats do some artwork. No pressure. And we started talking about Inktober, which trademark copyright, all rights reserved, without the permission of Major League Baseball. And we're trying to do something else. So we thought about doing prompts. And, there's already Leon-tober, which everyone's celebrating. So we thought maybe open it up to the group. Maybe something we can all do some drawing. Maybe we can share our work, share it online, use the hashtag pencil to pencil. Maybe we can check out what everyone else is working on. And maybe give some ideas to Mike and Jamar for them to work their magic.
Yeah, I like that. And I like the idea of it being interactive and people who are watching are drawing too.
Oh yeah, because there's so many talented people in the chat. It's like it's stellar.
What do you think of that, Mike Manley?
I like that idea. I like the idea of making everyone draw.
And we'll just talk amongst ourselves.
Right.
If we could share all your screens, we would.
So here's my only issue is that I don't know if we're just going to pick one and go with it or mash them all together, roast them, boil them, put them in a stew. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that. So we start off already with David Peterson with Goblin Thief. I can get behind that. And also I spy with my little eye, Notorious JRD, Man Bun Man, stealing Mike's birthday cake. I think that's all you, Mike. And if you're a long time or not a long time viewer of Pencil to Pencil, Man Bun Man is one of our boot camp, stand-in characters that Mike always draws. It's just some dude who has really bad luck with a man bun. I don't know if those two things are related, but
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, guys in the chat, throw out a couple of more prompts. Then we'll see what happens, and then I guess if something hits you in the feels, we'll just get started. And then while you guys are populating the chat, I will do some witty banter. So David has one, JRD has one. Everybody who's watching live is more than welcome to throw a prompt into the room.
And if you throw in a prompt, you have to draw it too.
Oh yeah, David, I'm waiting for that Goblin Thief See what just happened. While we're doing that, I'm going to see if I can share this. I got some more Leon Tobers, you guys. Let me see where I can. Let me see and try that.
Where you put them?
Yeah. What did I do with them? Oh, okay. Here it is. So I'm just going to start off here. So I don't know if you know Benaya Rosado. Benaya is a fantastic artist, and she is also my official colorist on the Leon series.
And a former student of mine.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, all roads lead back to the crew, right? And Benaya has been blessing me on her Instagram with these fantastic Leon Tober sketches. She's doing a little bit of kind of like leaning in with the prompt to not necessarily be a Leon related thing, but she's kind of hitting all the markers as we go along. And this day was principal. And I believe this was her actual principal when she was in elementary school, which I think is super cool. And I love Benaya's style.
I think the green frames are enough of a Leon tie-in to make.
Yeah, that. You see.
There you go. Yeah.
David Peterson is disbelieving that he has to draw the goblin tree. I disbelieve that. That's an illusion.
Did he say it like I disbelieve?
I did not know about this caveat. I don't think David said it that way, but we're going.
Well, then he has to draw.
After we said that, the room shut off. So now nobody's saying anything else. JRD says astronaut cows or smart alecky swords are also popular. Huh. David said Mike nailed the voice and hand gesture. I love it. I'm going to share some more of these. So, oh, sorry. No, don't freeze. Because that's all I need right now. Let me see. We go to this. Oh, this one is best friends. So this is Benaya's take on Leon and his best bud Carlos. I just love it. You know. Also, I love the coloring.
Yeah.
You know, and this is a lot for a daily sketch. You know what I mean? I applaud the effort. I just like how just like goony kids, right? And isn't it what this is all about?
I like the frame too. It's like the after school special with Leon.
That's
ABC
right.
afternoon timer.
Time for timer. Let's see what else. Let me get rid of this. The thumbs over here. All right. So then we have. Oh, this is just Leon. Look at my man with the pose. I love Benaya's style too. It's very quirky. This is really cool. JRD says this style reminds me of some of the animations from early Sesame Street stuff. Very cool. I agree, JRD. Look at that. I'm a rhymer. This one was. Which one was this? Yeah, I forgot. I think it had to do something with. Oh, this is lunch server. Benaya said in her Insta that she went camping, and this is the device that made her lunch.
So, like a little gas.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. What up, Matt Ringo? I thought you weren't going to be here. Matt says, "Oh, I wish I could participate. I'm drawing for work tonight and can't share. Loving all the Leons. Thank you, Matt. Good to see you. Let's see. We got a couple more in here, and it's not too late. You can still participate in Leon Tober. This is Mother, and Benaya is Mommy, and she drew herself. I thought that was super cool. Loving the gestures.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at the effort. In this one, I thought there was a color one. I couldn't find this one. Not exactly sure which one this is. I don't have my prompts in front of me, but I love the sketch work. And this one is Secret. This kind of ties into one of the characters, Clementine. You can see her hall monitor sash on her table in her room, and I love the fish. It's one thing that I've realized, you guys. I don't draw a lot of animals, and I have to work on that. I need to populate my world with more animals.
One graphic novel takes all place in like a zoo.
Oh no! There's
a horse farm, you know.
A horse farm, and then there's a bicycle race.
Right. Bicycle, yeah.
happening through the Zoom?
Fair shop that's run by horses.
This was Glove. You can see that mitten there. I think that was one of the first ones. Yeah, look, I think she's done every one of these days.
Wow.
Here we have Mike. This is Mike. This is great. Mike, can you talk about this teacher? This is teacher, I believe, right?
Yeah, teacher. Well, I just remember, like reading, having, your math book and you have your comic inside, and then eventually you'd be so engrossed in reading your comic that you're like, oh, and you look.
You can just hear
your comic away. You get it after class.
You can hear the teacher going,
Mm-hmm.
Their face looks so like, I don't know, like modeled after somebody, but I feel like all my teachers looked like that when I was in grade school. Bill says Mike is just spot on with this one. Love it. It looks like Leon's reading The Middle Age, no less. Love it.
Web comics in school?
Oh, hold on. And this one's secret, which I don't want to give away too much, but I love this one. Inside a very cavular cave. I like it. And I love the costume, like the costume tubes. If you saw Protector of the Playground, some of this will make sense. But yeah, I love this image. And Mike, and you're doing all these in clip, right?
Yeah, because it's faster to do it. I usually do it like at the end of the evening before I go to bed. So
these are like your wind downs.
Yeah, if I was trying to do it traditionally, it would just take me longer because you get a big blob of ink on there and you got to wait for it to dry so you don't smear it.
Yeah. And how much? Just to kind of pass some time here. How much time do you think you save, or do you still? This is what I want to ask. So with like black fills, like with paint bucket fills, are you doing a lot of those, or you still just kind of scratch it in?
No, I try to do paint bucket fills wherever I can. Part of it is having worked with clip long enough. And the way that I work, I kind of plan ahead. I can think like, okay, I'll paint bucket this, I really like being able to like paint the zip on, basically draw the zip on. It really reminds me of using the duotone board.
Yeah.
Because you can actually cut the shape out with the marquee tool and just paint bucket, or you can choose one of the bajillion brushes and paint, basically draw it on, which I like to do because it's like a little sloppy, which to me adds a little extra juice to it. They have a lot of weird patterns too. Like they have like diamonds and weird. They don't really look good for what I'm doing, but I think I found like a check pattern.
Yeah.
And the dot pattern. I think they have a line pattern.
I like that. I like to say diamonds. Diamonds. You have to hold your pearls when you say diamonds. Jared D asks, Mike Manley, are you doing these at your desk or on a tablet?
Oh, right here at my desk on the Wacom.
Okay. And then Jared D also posits that is one request for a future boot camp: Zipatone effects on clip. Yeah, and we were talking as a group about kind of like the future of some of our pencil to pencils when we don't have a guest, and maybe the idea of kind of opening up to some other types of guests. Maybe we could do a clip workshop. I mean, Mike could just do it himself, but it's always the idea of having other people, one that can speak specifically to a topic.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of other people that use clip in a very. I'm like a caveman. You know what I mean? I try to use it basically exactly as I would when I'm working traditional. So my method. I mean, there are people that are making paths and all kinds of other things. Got key commands and all. I don't do any.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you keep it caveman.
I try to keep it simple, stupid. I try to keep it as simple as possible. I see people, you watch their vids or their loops or reels or whatever, and they're doing all kinds of different things, and I'm just pen and ink, so I just try to keep it as simple. I even got a lot of different brushes, but I found that you really can't tell.
Right.
Unlike if I use Real G Pen,
right,
and then I use Bob's Burgers or whatever, I can't really tell the difference because it's the same surface. So it gets thick and thin. You can adjust your brush performance. They all sort of seem equal unless you're using like a grease pencil or something like that.
Right.
Unlike, if I'm using a traditional nib, I might use a 102 versus a 108, and the 108 is super flexible and the 102 is only a little flexible. It also holds less ink.
Right. And these are things we don't really have to worry about when we're using clip.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you never have to. I mean, that's actually why it's probably faster ink digitally, because there's no waiting, there's no dipping, there's no waiting,
There's another question from our boy Bill O'Donnell. What up, Bill? Bill says, question for the group. What's your opinion on Zipatone brushes? And would you use it traditionally on a sketch?
What is a Zipatone brush?
So, well, yeah. So I'm assuming, Bill, you're talking about, isn't that kind of like when you... Wait a minute, maybe I don't know what he's talking about either. I thought you were talking about like when you basically select Zipatone as a kind of like a material and clip, and then you can just kind of like wipe it across.
That's why I create a layer.
Right.
Then what I do is I'll create a layer, then I will like select that layer, and I hit the paint bucket, and it would fill like, say, the top of that tube, right? And then that gives me the dots. And then I go back to my brush, and then I just did the rest of it. You can see freehand, because once that layer, anything you draw on that layer will be that dot pattern.
All right, I get it. So I think we're kind of mixing our metaphors here. So he's saying, my bad, Zipatone brushes via digitally. And I think what we may be talking about is duo shade board, where
they don't make it anymore.
They don't make it anymore. And I have some dried up fluid pause in my drawers over here.
Yep.
You know what I mean.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
Good night. Where you would get, like, if you've seen a lot of, like, Mike, you and Brett used a lot of dual shade.
Used it back in the day on certain jobs, but the problem was that the fluid always dried up in your box, and you'd have to go back and put it under the water, and it would kind of reactivate a little bit. So you ended up ordering more of the developer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it must be like some simple basic formula.
It's basic chemistry.
It sort of smelled like rotten eggs, so it must be like a sulfur-based formula.
And for people,
when I was a kid, I used to have these coloring books that had another pattern on it, and if you took water and you went over it, it activated the pattern.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still make. I don't even know if they still make coloring books anymore. But I remember specifically having a Yogi Bear coloring book, and like you could go and paint like the ranger, or you could paint like Yogi's tie or the trees in the background. So it was like some pattern that was activated when you put water on it.
Now, for people who aren't familiar with the duo shade board, is basically like a super thick Bristol with kind of like an element kind of
it was printed on it.
Yeah, printed on it, and then it was almost like they gessoed the rest of the surface. So then, when you laid down this fluid over the page, it revealed.
You had two patterns. Well, some of them had duotone, dual patterns. There was all kinds of patterns, because a lot of people that used to do fashion illustration would do, like, they would have like different plaid patterns. There was all like trees. There was all kinds of different, like what was the other one? There was a line pattern, and they had like different size pattern. Like
Mm-hmm.
27 lines per inch or 30 lines per inch.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the political cartoonists in the day
Mm-hmm.
used to use it. John Severin used to use a ton of it. Wally Wood used to use a ton of it. I mean, it was like the guys in Mad Magazine in the old days used to use a lot of it. It was like
the Ninja Turtle guys did a lot of issues.
Yeah, probably up until the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Ohio Graphics, I believe was the name of the company.
Yeah.
And you can look it up on the internet in like the archive of forgotten art supplies. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to use. We had very different. I think Richard Corbin used it. I mean, just about everybody used it at some point, because it was simpler to paint the screen on or paint on the pattern where you want it than to actually go buy all the different Zipatone and then put it on and then cut it and paste it on.
Yeah, because you could feather it. You could do all that sort of stuff with it. I did a few pieces with it. I found some recently. It's all looks very sepia now. Like it's all round, but it's cool to see those old pieces.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time on that, but I think I have one more thing from Mike here, and this one is school, and I love Mike's faces in these. These are great. We also see there's Carlos, there's Leon, and there's Cheesesteak Jenkins from Carlos from Leon's class. That's cool. And
why do they call him cheesesteak? Because he always smells like a cheese.
It smells greasy.
Like fried onions.
What's up, Jimmy? Jimmy McGrath says, "Holy moly, Mike's Leon's on fire." Not literally, but figuratively. What up, Eternity Forever? So yeah, that's just a little smattering of Leon-tobers, and you're not too. Oh wait, hold it. There's more. This was another one for Benaya. I think this was teacher, and I love the biology teacher, Mr.
Gilman or something.
Mr. Flowers, the biology.
I like the leaf bow tie.
Yeah, it's nice. That's really creative. And the cool part of
children and accept your spores.
Oh no, that's my buddy. That's my buddy Docs. I got in there. That's not one of them, but that's great. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you so much for everybody that is playing around in Leon-tober. Please keep going. We have more days in October to go, and you can go
November and Leon-Sember when everybody has to send presents to Jamar.
Oh, I like it. Hold on, I'll put up the prompt real quick just so you guys can.
Today's prompt.
Oh, yeah. Hold on 1 second. Let me share the screen again, and then we'll get started. All right, here you go. So look. There's still like a whole other side to do. I love it. So yeah, pass it along, you guys.
Cell phone.
Today's birthday party.
Look at that. Isn't that wild how I did that? I must be
psychic.
I must be psychic. That's great. Oh,
so I just draw Leon at my party and like, what are you doing here, kid?
Get out of here, kid. Go to sleep. So, all right, you guys, thanks so much. That was great. All right, so we're going to start jumping into our prompts. So we have 3 prompts, I think.
3?
Well, hold on. So we had David Peterson, who had Goblin Thief. And then, Mike, I felt like this one was specifically for you. Man Bun Man. Wait, where'd it go?
Man Bun Man Thief.
Man Bun Man stealing Mike's birthday cake.
But since I don't have a birthday cake.
Because he stole it.
Today was Sans birthday cake. Although I would have loved a piece of pumpkin pie. Because I don't really like cake.
That is true. And JRD says, astronaut cows or smart alecky swords are also popular. I like it. Oh yeah, I'm not putting that on the screen, JRD. You're going to be on
astronaut swords.
It's going to be on timeout with bad puns in the chat. Oh, Eternity Forever says, I finally have my copy of Leon and will try at least one prompt before the month is over. Please do. You can always just draw Leon too. That'll get you over the hump. So appreciate it. So, Steve, are you kind of out of the race tonight?
out of the race. I was trying to see if I can get this thing to behave, but it's not going to let me share my iPad to the world.
Okay.
I'm glad it was working for our 3D demo, but tonight
Yeah.
it's out of commission.
All right, so it looks like Mike and I will draw. I think I'm going to do the Goblin Thief. I'll do my best. And Mike, you want to try Man Bun Man? You remember what he looks like?
No, but he's I mean, any guy that has a man bun
Will do.
becomes Man Bun Man.
All right. Oh, you know what? Steve, did you? I thought Steve, you froze for a second. Are you good?
Oh, not yet. I'm
I
wrapped.
I got some weirdness over here.
Hmm.
I'm going to leave the screen real quick, you guys, so you can focus on Mike.
And you come back and like, oh, my drawing's done.
Bling. Yeah. I sourced it out on Fiverr.
Yeah, you've been like cooking it off camera.
Put it in the art microwave.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
So in about 9 days, you'll be able to see Jamar and myself at the Baltimore Comic-Con. I know JRD will be there. I believe David Peterson will be there. I know Mike's skipping it this year, but we'll get him back in 2024, 2023.
Yeah, I come back the following year with like riding a golden elephant.
But if you're in the Mid-Atlantic and Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, we hope to see you there.
It's my favorite show. I mean, I used to like the old WonderCon before they moved. That was a good show because it was really basically just comics. It wasn't like all the other stuff. And a lot of professionals go to Baltimore.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to get around and more and it's more personable than New York. Like New York is just so huge that it's like you can see everybody in Baltimore if you want to.
Right.
You can't see everybody in either San Diego or New York. It's like impossible to do that.
It's a madhouse. You can actually still go have dinner on Saturday night in Baltimore, and it's not going to be
unless the Orioles are playing.
No, yeah, that's okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah. Although, to be honest, sometimes after being on the floor all day, I just go back to my hotel and order room service.
I'm back, y'all. Bill says, Steve, did you do a page for the yearbook?
I did. Let me see. I think I can share that. I think I can share a static image.
Sure. Usually, if you put it in preview, and then
yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to Shelly Pleger, our buddy who hangs out on the program. Fantastic artist on Dick Tracy. I've been trying to get Shelly on the program. I don't think it's going to work, but I love having you around.
We're just going to have to go outside of her house with cameras and film in the window.
That came from Mike. I did not say that.
Like an expose.
The opinions of Mike Manley do not necessarily. So do you have it, Steve?
I do. Let me see if I get this to behave properly. Share screen, share window. Okay, there we go.
Are people sharing their Baltimore sketches?
Oh, nice.
Wow, yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Speaking of prompts.
Very D&D themed still, and I think I can zoom in, can I?
Yeah.
Was Gary Godmother as the mascot this year?
Well, that was for the yearbook, yeah.
Yearbook, right, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Jill Thompson's character. Yeah, it was fun I was really happy because some of the ink work is a bit more sculptural, like especially her hair. The work I've been doing in 3D is definitely lending itself. This was one of those ones where I didn't make a 3D model and then draw that. But it's still influencing how I'm inking everything. So really happy with it.
Let me ask you a question, Steve, because you've been drawing your characters with 4 fingers for a while. Like, do you find sometimes as you wish you had 5? Or are you kind of used to this style of cartooning that you just automatically draw things with 3 fingers of the thumb?
No, I felt like I did the 3-finger thing or the 4-finger thing because initially because I wanted to be more cartoony. I thought at every choice, whenever there was a fork in the road and there was a choice between realistic and cartoony, I wanted to take the cartoony fork and go that way. I haven't missed it. There's very few hand gestures that get in the way. wouldn't want to draw Mr. Spock that way. I wouldn't know what to do. But other than that, I think it's I don't know. It's a little tricky sometimes. Like there's a figure that I'm trying to appeal to a non-comics audience with my role-playing game stuff, and that artwork to have a character who only has 4 fingers, I think that's jarring for them. So that kind of anything that I want to go out beyond comics and beyond my readership of the Middle Age, I definitely start adding another digit.
You go back through and like, okay, this is for the 5-digit fans.
Yeah, exactly.
On my Patreon, my 5-digit.
Yeah, it's a concession for that. Like I did a sculpt of a figure, and it's the cover of the Intoximancy book, the recent Kickstarter I did, and the character only has a certain number of fingers, and if you look closely, you'll see it. But people have looked that closely. I'm hoping they don't. I hope they don't choke on it. But so, it's fun.
I think really only artists look at hands. Like you look at how well. I think the average fan just sort of like, oh yeah, it's a hand, but the artist really pays attention to how well a hand, because after the face, the hand is the most important expressor, actor.
Sure.
Like you always see people in comics talk like this. Hey, Jamar. Hey, Steve. What do you know?
It's a lot of this, a lot of. Yeah, it's there's so much wrapped up in the hands. If you don't have the hands in there, the scene almost feels weak.
Oh, you know what?
When we were talking right before the podcast, we were all like, "Hey, guys,
you got to put the pinky out,
and you got to put it like uncomfortably close to the head, like a lot of people do." So it's like,
have you seen this one? Is kind of it's a not crap on the millennials, but this one that you see a lot of hand behind the head, like the neck, like the kind of like the neck ring. It's kind of like
I've done that. A lot of the old strip guys would do that.
What, the hand behind the neck?
That or like, hey, honey,
yeah, I forgot the tomato juice.
Right? Yeah, they're sort of because they're like universal. That's like a universal gesture that everybody understands. One of the shows I was working on was Fairly Odd Parents, and I remember that one particular director did not want you to do that. And because I was really? Boards were like, Timmy would be talking, and he'd be talking, and his hand would go up, and he goes, "I don't want to see that acting." So then you didn't. How did you act? And we'd have to move his head.
The most universal one was the.
Oh, this one with the Sue's poos.
That's the go-to. If you. I'm still sharing my screen. I gotta stop that down there.
That's cartooning acting, as we call it.
Or
right? Because if you just have, and that's a very amateur cartoonist thing, just, people with their hands behind their backs, but.
And the fog, the feet, the hands of the feet in the fog.
Just leaning on the wall with your hands just out of frame so you don't have to draw it.
Right, yeah.
I like feet fog, yeah.
Or the best is when your hand is in your coat, but there's no room in your coat, like your hand just
disappears.
Coat, and there's like a TARDIS inside or something, so it's like it occupies no space.
That would be a bag of holding, Mike Manley.
Oh.
Yeah. A handy haversack, if you will.
Oh.
I disbelieve.
There you go.
I like the hand. I didn't see the hand. I disbelieve this.
Yeah, come on. Aren't you supposed to say that? I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, aren't you supposed to You
got to use the voice. If you don't use the voice, it doesn't work, Mike.
I disbelieve this podcast.
Yes, that's right.
Mother, I disbelieve you. You're interrupting our game.
All right, so you guys share your screens, and I'll start clicking buttons.
I'm offended by that voice.
Let me see.
I am triggered by that voice, I gotta say. I don't know how I feel about that.
Why?
Because I don't speak like that in my D&D game.
You certainly do. I've heard you on the phone.
I would like to order of chicken wings.
I would like them to be extra spicy, sir. Last order I got from you was most unsatisfactory.
You know what? This is unfair to our nerdy friends who play Dungeons and Dragons.
Why? Because they all talk like that?
No, I don't talk like that. Stone Cold Steve Conley doesn't talk like that. So you,
I
sir.
worked very hard to shake that accent.
Right. That was the accent. That was the Long Island accent. Was like that, right?
You gifted that when you start playing D&D, you automatically talk like that.
It comes right back.
All right, so my screen is up, and I'm getting my stuff together over here.
And I will sort out the technical problem I've got here. By the next time, I'm just glad my screen's not black and white. I've come out of the shadows.
The shadow realm. So, Steve, I can set mine up to present, but you'll toggle back and forth. Right? I didn't put on yet. I didn't put mine on.
Gotcha. I've got that in front of me. If it pops up, I'll adjust it. But so what did you decide to do, Mike?
I guess I have to do man bun man.
Flip it back. Oh, hold on. I got rid of you. Let me.
It's all right.
Can you flip them back?
Sure.
Okay. And I hope that everybody is excited and enthused by what we're doing here tonight. We had a lot of banter, which I think was fun, but we also talked about some technical stuff too, which I think
like how to get your way out of any trouble when a policeman pulls you over for speeding. I disbelieve you.
I think we started something new with Mike here. That's hilarious.
I can't believe that was actually. See, I only played Dungeons and Dragons
for one lunch
once
period.
or twice when I was in high school, and I maybe it was the people I was playing with. They just seemed like, oh, this is kind of like boring. Or maybe we were able to do voices or something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that could have been a thing. But yeah, I really feel like the D&D experience. I can't talk about now because the game that people are playing now and the people, kind of
it's high tech now. Probably, I mean, you got it.
Well, yeah, the pandemic kind of really made it high tech, and a lot of people have never played in person. They play on like Discord with this thing called Roll20, which is a kind of like one-line device. But it's old school, guys. It's kind of like the game is different. And I said to Mike a long time ago when we talked about D&D, I said, I think your experience, your feelings about the game depends on who you played with the first time.
Right.
So so if you had like a bunch of just like real cut-ups, that's going to shape how you play the game. And nowadays I think people just assume you have to show up dressed like a pigeon or something like that. Or have
you don't show up like a pigeon
or elf ears. Like you don't have to do all of that.
Oh.
Now you're not interested.
I know, yeah. Now I'm not coming to people and wearing elf ears, I mean, to me, that's the whole point.
Somebody please save me from Mike tonight.
You don't sit there with your elf ears on and your filk singing or whatever.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare
you? Oh my
god! I love that the comics world looked down on gamers. It was like it was such a pecking order of the comic book people looking down on the D&D folks.
I love it. What's going on in the chat? Are they like, you sir? I am unsubscribing. I'm disbelieving from your YouTube channel.
I think they're hypnotized by Man Bun Man.
Oh, he's getting it going, huh?
Let's hop over to Jamar's screen.
Yeah, put the heat on Jamar.
Oh, that's what I need right now.
You need heat.
And so let's do the tech recap. What are you working in, Jamar?
Clip Studio Paint.
And on a Cintiq, or no, you're a Huion.
I'm a Huion.
Quinine? He's
No.
on quinine.
Yeah, that's kind of like my thing of choice these days. I just, I had my screed against Wacom. But if they decided to give me a tablet, I'd take it. But yeah, I'm just kind of the mind that it's, Wacom just, there's other options nowadays. That's kind of how I feel about it. Not that it's necessarily, not worth it. It's just I think there's other ball games in town. If that makes sense.
Notorious JRD is saying that Gallagher's going to kill me. I should be coloring Max. Instead, I'm drawing Man Bun Man.
Well, we didn't know that until you told us. So I think Gallagher's going to kill you.
Coming back to Mike's screen. Jamar, I love that. I love that expression.
Thanks. I'm going to change it.
And Mike, you're working on a Cintiq?
Cintiq, 13-inch Cintiq.
We're getting all of. Oh, I guess you're sharing your whole screen. That's how we get to see the your various.
Yeah. Because I'm a Luddite and I don't know how to do the other. I really do. I mean, it's funny. Like you learn how to use these things in the way that works for you, and then you see somebody else do something. It's like, oh, I never even thought to work that way.
Like, how did you do
that? I mean, I suppose I said this before. I think in my case, I'm just trying to use this digital thing exactly as I would be using traditional media. And if somebody else started out now and they were learning on these things, they would not be doing this stuff in the way that I do it. Maybe they'd have a whole different way because they're not used to, a needle eraser and, all this other stuff. So.
And do you find yourself flipping the image often to check it, or do you feel like when you're doing a piece like this, it's like you don't need to do that stuff?
Me?
Yeah.
Occasionally I do that. Probably not as much for cartoony stuff as I do realistic stuff. Like, when you draw a face, especially when you draw a face straight on, right? In reality, nobody's face, right? If you have an eye, right? In reality, one eye is actually higher and one eye is like actually lower and smaller. Like both your nostrils are not the same. You've seen those things where they take, like Brad Pitt, and they take the left side and they make it the right side, and it looks like a completely different person.
Right.
But in the drawing, it doesn't work right. If you're doing a drawing where you're doing straight on, and you say, well, like Harrison Ford. I remember drawing Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford has a very crooked face. Right, he's very, very, and the older that he's gotten, the more crooked his face is. Right, you don't see a lot of straight-on shots of Harrison Ford. They always film him kind of like from a 3/4 a little bit. Same way with Mark Hamill. And actually, as he's gotten older, you also see the plastic surgery more that he had after he had that car accident. But if you were drawing, Superman, and you made like, Christopher Reeve was a handsome, symmetrical but he was not perfectly symmetrical.
Who are you calling symmetrical?
So what I do is I would do that, and then I would flop it because I say, oh yeah, that one out. Something will be bothering me about a drawing.
Sure.
and some aspect of the proportion of the face, is the nose too long or the ears too far back? You know, I mean, there's sort of a canon of measurement, like the edge of the nostril meets the tear duct, right? The edge of the mouth meets the center of the eye. From here down, the width of a chin, right? Right about here, where the nose is where you see the cheekbone, right? And all this is like in Andrew Loomis's books, which are great. And it gives you the sort of the canon of idealized proportion, right? Which you deal with more with drawing, especially in cartooning. In fact, the more cartoony it is, the more important it is to do these things like the center lines to line things up. So if I draw a character and I feel something is off, I will flop it, and then I can say, yeah, you know, this is over too far. This eye is over too far. I need to move it back over, you know. So
I found myself with convention sketches. I take a photograph of it and then flip it on my phone so I can see it, because sometimes I'm using the paper's too thick to hold up to the light or anything like that. And like a million problems present themselves as soon as I can flip the damn thing.
I think I'm much better doing convention sketches now. I think because of teaching, and one of the things that happens is you have two brains going on when you're drawing at a convention. You've got the talking to people, but now you have to concentrate on a drawing.
Sure.
Right. And I think because of teaching, I got used to talking and drawing. But in the beginning, it was a little bit more of a struggle because I was not used to talking while I drew.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I call that the manly trance.
yeah, it sort of is like, you know, getting into a trance. When I watched Mobius draw, you could see that he went right into his trance. He was able to do that. And he was also able to, because he was able to do that, he could do that and talk to people. So it's a way of training yourself to be able to talk and to draw. I mean, it's preferable, honestly, to really, you know, concentrate. But you can learn to do that.
How you doing, Steve?
Pretty good. Shirley's saying on YouTube, walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that's hard for some artists is to split that. Like if I always love to watch artists draw, especially somebody like Villagrán, or you'll see Joe Kubert, or, you know, it's just a master.
Jamar Nicholas.
Jamar's very good at he's very entertaining, and he entertains the crowd.
I appreciate it. You ever see me eat an egg roll at a convention while I'm drawing? Go ahead, Stephen. I'm in the picture.
No, always like that at the theme parks. They'll have artists drawing this, like there's very light blue lines of sketches of characters, and they'll draw it, but there'll be a nice TV screen behind them with a camera. Basically, the view we have of your articles now, and they get to see the work that they're, you know. And so this is it's rare. I mean, thanks to Twitch and thanks to YouTube, we can see the process, but you just never got to see this kind of thing before. That you could actually watch it. It's amazing.
There is a series of films that they did in France where they had like Joe Kubert and Neil Adams and, you know, Mobius.
Oh, those black and white joints.
Yeah.
They're all like standing around in front of a giant whiteboard, and they just stab at the page. Is that it you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
and I remember as a kid,
Tack to Tack or something like that.
Yes, Tack to Tack. Yes, exactly.
As a kid, I remember. I think it was Milton Caniff was on the Mike Douglas show, and he had like a big sheet of paper, and he was drawing his characters. I think they used to do that back in the day.
Those Tack to Tack videos are on YouTube, and they're amazing. There's a great one. It's with I think it's with Neil Adams and Joe Kubert, and they're with somebody. It's like Hugo Pratt or a European artist. And while the European artist is up there drawing, you can hear in English, like I think Neil Adams calling Kubert over to talk shop. Like they want to talk about like creator rights or something like that. It's great. They want to just like, well, while I've got you here, let me bend your ear. Tim Fielder, you got to entertain the crowd.
That's right. You got to know where your bread is buttered.
Yeah, I mean, I do think one of the ways I learned to sort of win over the class in the beginning is just to sit there and draw something for them. Because, when somebody sees you draw something, they don't know what's going in your head. They just see this process and they go, oh, that looks like, like Kim Jong-gi, right? There was a lot going on in that guy's head. Right, for him to be able to pre-visualize what he was drawing. So he was actually drawing it in his head before he was drawing it on, whatever surface he was drawing on, and he was thinking.
Yeah. So
that was a very specific way to train yourself to. He's not doing this, what I'm doing. He's doing this in his head. And if you can see, he would put stuff down, then he would jump over here, and he would put something, and he would jump back over here, and then he sort of connects it. That's a very specific way of learning how to draw.
Have you tried to draw like that, Mike?
I have, I guess, at time, free sketching, like in your sketchbook, free sketching.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely some of that going on in your drawing here. Like when that the character who's falling, they have that hand that's lifted up, the hand that's a little bit further away. Like there was no pre-drawing about where that hand was going to be. You knew, and you were already drawing the individual digits in. It was like,
yeah, I mean, part of it is like, again, like after you've drawn a million jillion hands, you learn how to. You do kind of pre-visualize it, Part of it also is sort of, I would like to do stuff where I would be sketching, and then I didn't like what I sketched, and like I would erase it, and I would leave behind a ghost image, or what I guess the Italians called it pedimenti. So you could draw something 3 or 4 times, don't like it, you sort of lighten it up, and then you have like this ghost image, and out of that you can pull something. There's a lot of ways to sort of skin the cat. A lot of young artists, something I observed from teaching. So we would get sketchbooks donated, and so if somebody was like really serious and you could see they drew a lot, I would give them a free sketchbook. And giving an artist a free sketchbook with beautiful blank white paper is like, for some people, the scariest thing. They're like, and so I would take the sketchbook and I would just scribble on the sheet of paper.
Oh, just to like mark it up.
Mark it up. Just mark it up, and then they were like, oh, okay. And I heard that, what's his name? There was a very famous cartoonist who was like that. He worked for
Lou Fine.
No, it wasn't Lou Fine. It was
no.
Larry Fine.
Yeah. Well, I can't draw on this piece of paper. Yeah.
Joe Manili.
It was no, he worked for Simon and Kirby. it'll come back to me. I'm having my first senior moment of the evening.
Oh, now it's your birthday. It's your
My
first
birthday. Time to shut down, brain. Time to shut down.
But the anecdote you're talking about, Mike, was that they couldn't start till someone put a mark on the page?
Yeah. So he was very good, but he would have anxiety about the blank sheet of paper. So I guess what they learned to do was they would go over and take a piece of paper and they would just make a bunch of marks on it. And then he was,
just to break the seal, right?
Yeah. I would have loved to see Jack Kirby draw a page, because I have a feeling that he probably drew a page like Mobius, where like it's sort of I've read where he started at the top and just, and I heard that he would like make little marks and then he would just like just draw, because his drawing was really like sketching. There was a lot of energy. Like if you look at a lot of modern guys, their work is so tight that you could just shoot the pencils. Like, was it Stephen Platt or Dale Keown or some of these young modern guys? They pencil so tightly. There's very little for the inker to contribute.
Got a question for you, Mike, from T. Brad on Facebook. So are you drawing with a red G pen setting?
It's just red. You see, here's my, can you see my, yeah, it's just red. I just selected red. I don't know if, can you see it on my screen? So,
yep.
I just use the red, and it's in the, no, I have I had the red G pen because I wanted to be a little darker now. And
do you guys do sketches at conventions?
Yeah.
How
about you, Jamar?
Yeah. A lot of people don't ask me, but I do have some regulars at shows that come seek me out like every year. But it's kind of like, it's something I don't really advertise. I don't mind doing it, but that's kind of not.
Well, you do that Hey Kids Love Comics thing, so you're like drawing with the kids, right? You're doing like a
I do
kind of thing.
Yeah, I have a couple of workshops, but when I'm at my table, once in a while somebody will come over and go, "Hey, you doing sketches or something like that?" And sure.
Yeah, I know some artists who just don't want to do that. Like they just will not do a sketch or commission at a convention. I kind of got out of it for a while, but I'm finally back into it. I think the more AI imagery I see, I'm like, oh no, I have to create art.
Right.
I want to just go to my table and go, AI, make me $10,000 worth of drawings.
You got it, Manly.
We got Eric Nolan Wethington on YouTube.
What up, E?
With Mort Meskin is the name Mike was looking
for. That's it. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. He used to, So it's funny. You read something about like an artist like that and go like, wow, that guy was fantastic. But evidently he used to have anxiety about the blank sheet of paper. And like I said, I it's something I observed over and over and over and over again. So students would bring their sketchbooks. Nothing on the first page, nothing on the second page, nothing on the third page. You go into the middle of the book and there's like a little manga head. There's a little anime head. It was like a real consistent thing that I would see, like the beginning of the book, I'll put it inside. I'll kind of hide it, I had one or two students that were not like that. One of them is now working for Blizzard.
Huh.
And I knew that she was going to be successful when I met her, because she had a whole sketchbook full of really bizarre drawings, and I think that for me, the sketchbook is always more honest, a more honest space for an artist, because you sort of work. You can rehearse, or you can kind of go wherever you want. You can explore, and it's not like it's for you. It's not like on display. I think drawing on display at a convention for some people is hard.
We got Shelley says, I admire anyone who can draw in public.
It is a thing.
And talking about, I'm sorry.
No, it's not. It's not for everyone.
And talking about lush drawings, Tim Fielder says, I've been really been digging Eddie Barrow's work. Very tight pencils, but very lush.
I'm not familiar.
I'm not familiar with. But you know, I discover new people every day on Instagram. You know, I'm always discovering new people, and I think that's there's a lot of negative about social media, but to me, one of the positives about social media is discovering all these new artists. You know, you realize that there's like, maybe there always were that many artists, or almost, you know, there were probably hundreds of artists, but you know, if there was somebody in Italy when I was 20, you'd never see their work.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was no way, unless they were actually published and you could see their work in a magazine, you wouldn't even know that person's work existed.
Bill O'Donnell asks me if I'm doing any sketches in Baltimore. I am indeed.
Well, you were just doing sketches the other day.
Mm-hmm. I'm starting to do pen and ink largely for Inktober, but for the last few conventions, I really feel like that's more of what I need to be doing at these events. I mean, I like selling books, but the markup on a book is not very good.
I like doing sketches. I don't like doing bad sketches. I hate, like, every once in a while on the internet, I will see a old sketch of mine, and like, good Lord, is that thing horrible? You know, just makes me cringe.
But that's kind of something that no one else sees except you, right?
Well, maybe, I don't know.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm very unforgiving of my own work. I really hate to see old bad sketches. You know, like, I think I saw one of like Napoleon Solo. Like, somebody would come up and ask you to draw like the guy from Man from U.N.C.L.E. or something. You're like,
Sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's some terrible sketches out there, but
now I've learned that if someone comes up and asks me to draw something I really don't want to draw, I'll just say, I don't want to draw that. Is there something else you want me to draw? You know?
yeah, I say if it's not my wheelhouse, it's not my wheelhouse. Like,
You know?
JRD saying, I struggle with pricing my drawings, honestly. How do you guys come up with pricing for yours? Is it just you size the person up when they come up to the table, you see the Rolex, and suddenly it's a...
You look at that their cummerbund with their money in it, and you're like, you know?
Well, I don't know, yeah. Mike, you answer
that. It's sort of like, I've raised my prices in the last couple of years. I realized that, like, I don't usually charge for my signature. Some artists do. The only time I will charge, and usually I do it just so I don't have to do somebody. The scam would be, you send your daughter over from your table and
Sure.
she has a little stack of books. Okay, I'll sign 10 books. Then she comes back a half an hour later and she's got 30 books. And I'm like, I'm not signing all those books for free. You know what I mean? I mean, in principle, I think I would sign anybody's book for free because they bought it and they supported me, you know. But, you know, if they want me to sign 50 copies of the same thing, then I know that they're making money off of it. So I feel like, okay, if you're making money off of it, then I want money. So hand it over.
There was this lovely family. I said I was doing one free sketch for everybody, and they're like, okay. And the dad came over and said, I'd like a sketch of Mr. Fantastic. Could you do one for my wife can't be here because you draw a sketch. Her favorite is the Invisible Woman, and they're there. This is my son. His favorite character is the Human Torch, and basically there was a whole team. I'm like, I don't really think. I think that coincidental that the free sketch thing got away from me.
That's like that old Three Stooges bit. Like, I got a little brother this high, and another little brother this high, and another little brother this high.
Bill O'Donnell on YouTube. The wife has the price list on the table. It's priced from quote, sure that's easy to that's gonna cost you. I know a lot of people do that. Like a simple head sketch is one price. If it's a sketch, especially if it's a little kid's sketchbook.
If it's a little kid, I'll draw it for free.
What's that, Mike?
If it's a little kid, I'll draw it for free.
Sure.
But I charge adults. And actually, you know, in the old days, guys would do it for free. But then what they found out is that as soon as Neil Adams would sit down and, you know, and draw your sketch of Dead Man or whatever, they go and flip it.
Sure.
You know? And as I understand it, I don't know if it's still true or not, but at one time in Europe, everybody sketched for free. I don't know if that's still the same deal now, but in Europe, everybody used to sketch for free. So
another comment from Bill O'Donnell. Some artists price their sketches so high it's pretty much a don't ask me to draw price.
Well, you know, I mean, if you get a sketch from Steve Rude, you get a really good sketch.
Sure.
Right? There's some people that like, or Brian Stelfreeze or whatever, and they're not guys who are going to sit down and do like pump out 50 head sketches in a weekend. So it makes sense for them. And, you know, I mean, people are paying god awful money to go sit next to Bill Shatner uncomfortably.
Right.
Like with a screen, a wall of lucite between them and the good captain, you know, and I'm sure that that's like got to be like a couple $100.
At the last convention I did, I was sitting next to a bunch of, I was put in the guest area by the voice actors. And so the voice actors were charging $50 a signature, $40 a signature, something like that. And I was like, I couldn't charge for a sketch. I couldn't charge less than the time it takes them to scribble their name. I
right.
felt wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. The context definitely affected my pricing. Regarding Eddie, Tim Fielder, if you check out the replay of this later on, Tim Fielder's put some links to Eddie Barrow's Instagram and his Facebook page if folks want to check that out and learn more about Eddie Barrow's work and get a testimony from Bill O'Donnell that Eddie is such a nice dude. So everyone's got to check that out. Art Bill O'Donnell, Art Adams charges $1,500 for a bust, but it's Art Adams. Yeah, that's about right.
You know, Art didn't always get that, but Art has actually been working at that for a very, very long time. He also limits what he does. He does stuff that he wants to do. I think Frank Cho. There's a lot of guys. That's how they make their living. They're not drawing comic books. They're doing sketches and they're doing commissions, high-end commissions. I know that Art is one of those people that does high-end commissions.
It's great if you can do it. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm all for high-end commissions.
Yeah.
I actually have a couple now that I have to finish.
Eternity Forever. Some artists do fantastic sketches for free, full color. Others charge an arm and a leg. I think that's about right. There was a wonderful story that when Neil Abs passed, that oh gosh, who was sharing it? Larry Hama was saying that he went back. Neil Abs said he was charging too little, and so when Larry Hama came back from lunch, he found that Neil Adams had professionally printed, like a Kinko's or something like that, a sign on his table with new prices.
Yeah, I think I remember reading that. Yeah,
I love that. And apparently Larry Hama didn't have a line before then. And once he started charging appropriate amount, people started lining up. And
well, there is a lot to that what they call the perception of value.
Right.
And I know Jamar and I have talked about that before. You see somebody at a convention and they're trying to sell their book, and they have this like look on their face and they're like, please buy my book, please, and then like people actually walk further away from their table.
The pity purchase.
Right. Now if you took a dog turd and put it on a brioche bun and you put a sign on it for like, sandwich $5,000, a lot of people would come over and look at it and tell you you're crazy. But if you just had a sandwich free, they wouldn't even look at it, because the perception would be like, well, it can't be good and eat free. They'll come over and tell you you're crazy, but they won't look at it if it's free. I don't believe in underselling yourself.
JRD discusses his convention game plan. He says, I have a set amount, but I just say available for commissions, and make adjustments based on the customer. It drops a lot for young kids, or if they want teams. Hey, will you draw the entire Legion of Superheroes for me? And then kids basically get freebies unless you can tell the parent is trying to pull a fast one.
Tell him you want Iron Man. I want Iron Man.
Yeah.
What conventions is this happening at?
Tell him you want him to make Pepper Potts' boobs bigger.
Yeah, anyone who wants me to draw a Transformer, no, I can't do that. That just takes too much work.
I want him mid-transform. Mid-transform, Steve.
Tim Feeler says, I've only done one commission in my life, but I've considered doing it. But have considered doing commissions. Two questions. One, are digital commissions? I guess are digital commissions fair game? Or do you do those?
No.
And where the hell does one go to get into the commissions biz? If that's something that should be answered offline, let me know. I think that's a good question. How do you pick up more commissions? Well, the audience for commissions, who are they? Are they people who just go, I want the Dark Hawk artist? Wow, my New York accent stumbles over that word.
Yeah, the Dark Hawk.
The Dark Hawk.
Dark Hawk.
A hack. It's the hack.
The hack.
The hack.
The artist of Dak Hack.
Dak Hack. I think that just happens by you doing commissions.
Well,
right?
There are people that, if you go on Comic Art Fans, they have their commissions up. They have ads.
Right.
You would have to draw some commissions.
Yeah.
You would have to draw some images and say, this is what you get for, 150. This is what you get for 200. My commission list right now is like, I'll do you a full figure for 150. Anything over that, can you add a background? Can you eventually, if you want something that's like a cover, you got to pay my cover rate, because it's going to take me as long to sit down and draw your commission as it takes me to draw a cover, right? And
Mike, talk about something that I've seen you do, the remake.
That's what I have two now. I have two recreations.
Right.
Of Dark Hawk covers. Probably like the 5th or 6th version of the first cover. It's just certain images, I guess, that fans, like how many times has Mike Zeck redrawn that cover of like Wolverine slashing, Captain America's shield.
Sure.
And so I have two. One is another Darkhawk cover number 1. One is Darkhawk cover number 4. And so I have to finish those up. I ended up getting a little bit behind in my commissions because I want to do it, and these are not $150 commissions. These are much pricier commissions. So I want to do a good job. So I would say draw what you are interested in drawing, and then put that up on your social media and go, hey, if you want to draw, if you want, this is how much it costs. Commissions are open.
And the topic of digital commissions is coming up, asking about digital commissions. And I know JRD mentions that he does digital commissions for others, charging less for 72 DPI. The higher the resolution, the higher the price. Let me see. There's another mention here. Marshall on YouTube says, I know an artist who does digital con commissions. They bring a tablet and a printer to the conventions.
Yeah, I'm not interested in doing that. So, hey, it's like whatever works for you. If doing digital, like I don't want to have to lug this thing I got right here. I know that there's a caricaturist I know, and I think that's what he does. He has like some kind of a printer thing with him, and so he sits there and he does the commission on his pad, and then and he prints it out.
But you also have to get a drop. You need an electrical drop.
Yeah, well, I guess
from the show.
He does a lot of corporate events or like birthday parties, so they probably give him the. Because a lot of people do like, oh, we're going to have a caricaturist, and we're going to have a, we're going to have a what is it, the bouncing room, but
bouncy house, yeah,
bouncy house, but we're also going to have a caricaturist.
Bill O'Donnell mentions Baltimore tends to be one of the best cons. If you swing by the Hero Initiative, the money goes to a good cause. Talking about some conventions are just big commission and art conventions. That's like Heroes Initiative. I'm sorry, Heroes Convention in Charlotte and Baltimore are big art conventions. I imagine San Diego is not. There's probably no time for an artist to ever sit down and draw anything at the show.
I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of guys that do a lot of commissions. Bruce Timm, when I saw Bruce, was it 2 years ago now? He was doing $20 a pop headshots. So he'd just sit there and, what do you want, Batman? There you go.
Nice.
That noise was wild.
And I do take that back. There was also the cartoonist Nick Galifianakis. People might know him from, he's a syndicated cartoonist.
And he was a Philly cat for a minute.
Yeah, it was. And he did, I think he was set up at San Diego when he was drawing like pet little cartoon portraits, and apparently did great. I remember that story. He was like, I thought he came back from that show telling everybody that they should be doing that. I never really picked that up.
Well, probably that was one of those things that because he was doing it, it worked because nobody else was doing it. Like
Right.
There's a million guys drawing Harley Quinn, right?
Right.
And so and probably more people drawing like Deadpool and Batman and but yeah, nobody was drawing pet portraits. So you're probably going to get a lot of girls who are like, oh, I want a picture of Flopsy.
Mike's doing all the voices tonight. You really should play D&D, Mike.
I guess I could. Oh, but only if I could do the voices. Otherwise, it would be boring. Yeah, your character got captured by an orc, and now you lose your turn. You're stuck in a mud quicksand for 3 turns. Your turn, Jamar.
I remember the first time I did a sketch for somebody at a convention. I think it was it was for Hero Initiative, or it was called Actor at the time, and I did a drawing of the Hulk. It's up for $20, and it went right into the jar, and I felt like I was counterfeiting. It felt like I had turned a piece of paper and drew on it and turned it into a $20 bill. It was
So
very.
You had imposter syndrome,
So
wild child trying to help needy
Absolutely.
cartoonist buy a ham sandwich.
I absolutely had imposter syndrome. I'm sure it'll go away someday.
They're going to come and be like, "You're not a cartoonist, Steve Connolly."
Shelly says, syndicated stuff has strings unless you're the creator. I got to imagine about drawing those characters, or if that makes sense. I did see that the NCS, National Cartoonist Society at San Diego, and when they do conventions, they generally have like this kind of a large space for the National Cartoonist Society. And in that booth is a number of cartoonists who basically take shifts. And I saw a lot of them doing sketches. So
they were actually, I attended my first meeting this week of the local Philadelphia chapter, and they were talking about that. Like, you had the booth, and then like basically people sign up for the to work the booth.
So you're a member of the NCS now, Mike?
Not officially yet. I haven't gotten my. I mean, they still may be rejecting me at this very moment. So. But I applied, so we'll see.
I love those colors, Jamar.
Thank you. Oh, hey guys, how are you?
You're actually doing it in color?
Yeah, I had the time.
Mine's just all black and white. I suck.
I love the underpainting too. That pink showing through. That's great.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm just trying to, impress David Peterson. He probably logged out. He went and made some dinner. Just like, oh, you guys are still doing that? But no, this was pretty fun. Anything going on in the chat, Steve?
There's puns. I think you don't deserve them. I think you don't deserve that kind of mistreatment by me reading these puns to you.
Oh, please don't.
But Katie Cook is the champ with $10 watercolor mini paintings at conventions.
Oh yeah, I remember the last time I was at New York, not this year, but a couple of years ago. It was before the pandemic. She had a line, like the line was crazy, and they were just on line waiting to get the Katie Cook business.
That's great.
It's wild.
And we also have Fred Van Lente's partner in crime, Ryan Dunleavy, does amazing commissions at cons for $40. So I think Bill O'Donnell's doubling as an artist rep this evening.
So what does the chat room think about the art we're doing?
I forgot to share the screen this whole time, so they haven't.
I knew there's something wrong.
But Bill Jamar went all in with the color. All right, this is the time to start throwing praise at these two gentlemen for the beautiful work they're doing. Let's put it in chat and I'll share it with them. Remember, it's Mike's birthday, so be kind.
Word up.
Yeah, be kind. AARP is after me. They'll never get me.
And D. Brad Gibson, I love watching the drawings. And Tim Fielder's a callback to the last stream. What about the once a month graphic novel thingy? You guys are in the zone.
That's cool.
JRD, Mike is killing it, but we knew that was going to happen.
I'm glad somebody thought it was going to happen. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure it was going to happen.
Matt Waringo, is it imposter syndrome if you really are an imposter asking for a friend?
That's funny.
He's like false face on Batman. False face.
And JRD, I'm loving Jamar's Goblin and wondering if that design will show up in a certain Scholastic book someday.
Nope.
And D. Brad Gibson asks you, Jamar, have you ever done fantasy genre comics? Do you want to?
I would enjoy doing it. One of our buddies and was on a long ago-ish episode of Pencil, Christine Larson, has been doing amazing fantasy comics. She has a series called Orcs! ! That's a
Sure.
Boom. And she's fantastic at it. Yeah, I would love to do that. That would scratch a really interesting itch for me. As if you remember, Steve, did you used to read Dragon magazine?
Absolutely.
And Larry Elmore had Snarf Quest
Snarf Quest, yes.
in Dragon magazine, and I was just like, yo. And you know what? That also kind of puts me into a vein. I was thinking about the Peonies. I just saw an interview with Wendy Peeney from ElfQuest on YouTube tonight, and I was just like, yo, that's an institution right there.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Shelley says, I'd like to see Jamar's Goblin in the front yard for Halloween. That really is a great gesture you've got there, Jamar. I love the body language. I love the little touch of chainmail, the tears in the cape.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that, Stone Cold.
But if any folks have any other questions or comments, concerns, letters to the editor.
Yeah, tax questions.
How to price commissions, how to commission Mike, even though he won't be at Baltimore. You can still get commissions, I'm sure. Reach out to him through social media. But we're gonna have to have pencils down pretty soon. We're coming on we just passed the 90-minute mark.
Oh, it's pencils down. It's my favorite.
But we do have a piece of art to share here. Sorry, JRD, it's already queued up. We have a contribution from Notorious JRD. How do I know how to do this.
How do you do it, Steve?
Share. There we go. Man Bun Man by courtesy of JRD.
Ah!
Let me turn off the.
Mike's got his NASA hoodie on.
I love my NASA hood. I haven't worn it yet. I should have worn it today. It was so damn cold. I felt like I was on the moon.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I enjoyed people playing along. That's cool.
Nice to see, JRD.
Good likeness.
And if you're not following Mike and Jamar on social media, you absolutely must. I'm gonna see if I get some banners in here. We got a lot of banners. I'm gonna do some housekeeping, guys.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. What's your Instagram?
Drawmanly.
Drawmanly. All right, and Jamar, your Instagram
is Jamar_Nicholas_cartoonist.
That's great. So folks can check out if you want to share these pieces later on, they can check that out. Shelley, there's a question. got to do a workshop on this one. Still interested in the digital zipatone use, especially in newspaper comics. And Matt says, I always want to get a Phantom sketch from Mike at Baltimore, but I figure he wants a break from the purple one.
No, I mean I'll draw. I'll draw the Phantom, or I did a lot of Phantoms last time. So
that's great. I'm glad people dig that. All right, we're going to come back over to Jamar's screen. Prepare yourself, Jamar. Ooh. There we go.
Let's see if I can get this whole thing in the shot. There you go.
Oh, it's beautiful.
There you go. And you even see him pulling the dagger on you.
That's great.
You were like, "Yo, what's up with this stylish goblin?" And then jigga jigga.
This is
Precious sleeps with the fishes. Stab, stab.
His name is Stabatha Jenkins.
All right, Mike. Pencils down. Pencils down.
no, not yet.
Oh, I hadn't even looked. Oh, I just see the back of Mike's neck. Yo, I love his mustache.
It's so good, Mike.
I like his hipster blazer. That's so funny.
What else would a man bun wear? They always wear they look like they're on an old episode of Miami Vice or something.
So, are you still doing regular events for Leon? Are you still in that mode, Jamar?
Oh yeah, I have some travel coming up. If you're in the area, I'll be at Books of Wonder in Manhattan tomorrow evening for an appearance in a store signing. School visits coming up. I was in Chicago a week ago.
You're like that baseball with those Bugs Bunny cartoons. When you come back, you got all the stamps on you from traveling all over the world.
Yeah, and I did a cool Instagram. Oh, this isn't travel, but I did a cool Instagram live today with Microsoft and Scholastic because it's it's hashtag Teach Graphics Week, where some selected Scholastic graphics authors are doing kind of like classroom video visits, and we're encouraging the children to draw their own stories and put yourself in the frame.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Yo, he just straight housed that cake.
So now you will see the magic of the zipatone. You put another layer, and let's say you select this little cake here, turn this layer off. Then you go this little thing here that look like a zipatone. You go zipatone. Now I'm gonna say, since this is going to be on the web, that's too fine. So
you went to high school with Johnny Zipatone.
Then I go down and make it like 15.
You're right, Steve.
Right. So now that's a nice big pattern. Then you go over here, select your brush, and then you can paint on your zipatone.
Right. Now I know there's another way that you could basically just flush the whole layer with that pattern, and then you can erase out.
Right. Yeah. You could select the whole thing and then erase it out. Right. Yeah. You could do that. Or now I could do this. Let's say going here.
Do a bucket fill.
I do
sugar plum.
Cross. See? Now you get the cross. And then you go back up, you select your brush, you might select a larger. And then you can just
do that Andy Cap grid.
Yeah, you know. Now there are probably, again, I'm a Luddite, you know, so I only use certain screens on the
Right.
on the strips. But see how they can paint it in, right? So you can paint it in.
That's so good.
Right? There might be other screens that you can buy.
You could probably make your own patterns too.
I imagine. Again, see, that's like above my pay grade because I wouldn't know how to import the I wouldn't know how to import that. So like I say, okay, I want to go there, and I go back to the circle. Or they have square, lozenge, line. They have noise, right? They have
It's like crackle.
like all these weird, I don't know, like flowers. I can give myself flowered pants because he doesn't read at that size, so you'd have to you have to make it really. Let's see. There we go. There you go. Now I can give myself flowered pantaloons.
I love it.
Because I'm secure enough in my masculinity to wear flowered pantaloons.
This is drawing pants.
His drawing pajamas.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a pajama. We live in a pajama culture. Yeah, I mean, so basically, yeah, it's pretty simple. You just select it, and you might be able to go to Clip Studio, like I said, and you might be able to download like other patterns. But these are like the basic patterns that come with it. So
yeah, and you know, we see that a lot with some people that get so caught up having every crayon in the box.
Like I said, I have all those. I bought a bunch of brushes. You know, I see all these brush packs. Maybe if I was painting, that would be more appropriate. But for doing comics, I don't need all that extra stuff. It just
it seems like it's craziness to have that many brushes. Like, let me choose from 10,000 brushes for the one I'm going to use today. For like each line, I have to go back to think about it. Which brush should I use?
I think it's because you can, you know, and then young people think, oh, well, I'll be able to paint like all these people I like because I have the same brushes that they have.
Right.
You know, and it's like, no, you know, a really amazing artist like, you know, Ricardo Villagrán would paint and do these masterful little gouache paintings. And he would paint it on like the shittiest paper you could find. He would use bond paper, whatever. He would just do these. It's not like, you know, $90 piece of like handmade watercolor paper or something. You know, it was pretty. So let's take that. Select delete my.
Are you still tweaking the Goblin Thief, Jamar?
No, pencils down, bro. I'm done.
Okay. I wanted to be sure. I wasn't sure if I should jump over to your screen or not.
No, it's
okay. So now
you saw it.
Yeah. So now I'm done.
And Mike, so do you flatten that, or you put a paper underneath?
No, what I do is I save it.
Paper layer.
Then I put it in Photoshop. Open it up in Photoshop, and flatten it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's great.
so just a quick little doodle.
Just a quick little doodle. Just a quick little finished piece of artwork that
You know, well,
could appear in
you know,
print in any magazine in the world.
again, you know, it's just practice. You know, practice. I think that's the thing I always try to get across to people is that, you know, you probably be better than me. You just sit down and you're very serious about practicing. But you know, you can get distracted by all those things like, oh, I've got all the brushes, I've got all the this, I've got all. Well, how many hours did you spend drawing this week? Well, you know, by the time I downloaded the brushes and I did all this and whatever, it's like you cannot separate ability and confidence from practice.
Practice.
Anybody who's excellent.
You talk about practice.
Anybody who's excellent, any musician, any painter, any dancer, any singer, anybody who was really accomplished at anything, they put their time in there. They love putting their time in it, right? And if you say, "Oh man, I got to sit down and draw today," then this is not. You're never going to reach that
Zenith.
of a level of comfort. Like I'm never happy with my drawing, but I have a level of comfort in my ability to perform under pressure, which is the major requirement you have to be able to produce consistent work on demand.
That's
you
great.
know.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
It's great, Mike. Nicely done, guys.
Thank you. Look at that, and we made it under time.
Fantastic.
So I would ask, and thank you, Stone Cold Steve Conley, for your
Yes.
magnificent handling of the boards. I would ask the penciliers who are watching us live if they enjoy this kind of content.
That's good.
The please share, right? I say this all the time. Don't hoard pencil to pencil. Share it.
Fine, Jamar, you can have it.
Pencil
Only
to pencil.
I can watch it.
Pencil to pencil is not pie. There's enough for everyone. It's not pumpkin pie, Mike.
Big
Manley.
slice of pumpkin pie with cocaine on top of it.
Oh, whoa! I love it.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mike Manley. We'll have to do a wellness check.
A little
with him
snow on
later
the Alps? Anyone?
Uh-huh. So next week will be an intervention. I hope you all come.
And you know what? We're on a real slow march to 1,000
To the grave.
1,000 subs. Mike's he's tuned up. So we gotta please, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button. I know a lot of people just get ensorcelled, Steve Conley, with watching the magic here.
Oh.
The prestidigitation. Hold on, Steve.
I deny that.
That's right. I what? No, we disbelieve.
I rebuke you.
I disbelieve your.
I did right. I disbelieve.
Where we need to get to 1,000 subs, you guys. How long has this channel been around? That's ridiculous. But
90 years.
This
But
is
you know
brand,
what?
a brand new channel.
But you know why it doesn't get? We're not getting those likes because people aren't sharing the love of pencil to pencil
I don't
with their
want
friends.
to know my secret love.
So please put it out there. Like, yo, what are you doing Wednesdays at 8 p.m. EST?
We
I'm-
pasted.
I'm-
We pasted in Philadelphia.
I'm going to Pencilville, and you gotta spread the love so we can at least get to 1,000. I want to see 1,000 subs by the end of this year. I think we can do it, but we're gonna need you, dear viewer.
And I promise on the next Prompt-Tober, I'll have my hat in the ring for so you can
Okay.
tag me in from time to time. I'll get that sorted.
So I think that's it. So we will be back next Wednesday, same bad time, same bad channel. Thank you all for hanging out with us. And if anybody else drew a Prompt-Tober piece with us tonight, please send it to Steve Conley, and he'll rack it for us.
Yeah, please do. And again, weekend after next, you'll be able to see Jamar and myself and a number of people from the room over in Baltimore. We hope to see you there.
I'm very excited. I can't wait to see you.
Maybe we'll be doing Prompt-Tobers live.
That's right. There's a lot of. I guess this is a good time to plug stuff. Steve, are you doing any panels or anything?
No, I'm just excited to see people. It's been too long. On my own website, though, I'm having a site-wide sale. If you go to steveconley.com, all the art, all the commissions you might have seen me do for Inktober already, those are everything's 30% off. I'm basically books, everything. I have to clear out so much space because of that silly hurricane that hit my town. I'm just making room here. So if people check out steveconley.com/shop, everything there is 30% off. So you want to check that out. But I'm just so excited for Baltimore. I can't wait to see you, Jamar. Can't wait to it's gonna be nice.
Yeah,
It's like homecoming.
I'll be all over the place. So I'll be at the Kids Love Comics Pavilion with the fam. I also am the keynote speaker for the Ringo Awards this year. I'm very excited. There's a couple other things. There's a spotlight panel on me, you guys, at Baltimore Comic Con. I will be in conversation with our buddy John Gallagher. Also, our buddy Mike Hawthorne, Batman DC artist Mike Hawthorne. He's doing Batman now. And I will be doing a live It Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. It's a panel. I believe that's going to be on Friday afternoon. So make sure you pick up your programs, kiddies. So we'll see you. I'm going to see your face in the place.
But mask up.
That's right.
Don't be spraying your sputum full of COVID on anybody.
By COVID. Cool. All right, you guys. So we're gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for hanging out with us again. For my co-conspirators, Mike Manley and Steve Conley, I'm Jamar Nicholas. Remember, you guys, we're still in a pandemic, so I implore you to please wash those Kirby hands.
I deny you.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys next week.